Hey everyone, hope you're all well. Welcome back to the channel and of course another video. This one's going to be a bit shorter than usual, but if you didn't see my last one, then go watch it because I posted around my recent fitness tests, and this video is a bit of a follow-up to that because I want to review how I got on. Now there were 3 tests that I took on this week. One included a swim test and then I did 2 bike tests. One was a critical power and your normal FTP. If you're wondering where my run test is, then I'm actually due to do that this week because it was a bit of a recovery week last week as well. And trying to cram in the run test would have meant after my social activities, the weekend with the TTT group, it would have been not much of a recovery week. So if you want to know how I get on in that, then you're going to have to follow me on Strava. My link is in the description below. So go over, give me a follow, and then you can see how that goes. So the last time I took these fitness tests on was back in mid-November. So we're talking, I don't know, 9-10 weeks ago, something like that. And really what I'm trying to judge is any improvement that I've made, from the time that I spent training from that point on. Now, to put things into some sort of perspective, I think what we would need to do is frame that training and talk a little bit about how, those 9 to 10 weeks or so have gone. Now, I would say that my training over the last 9 to 10 weeks has been pretty consistent. In fact, I'd say it's probably got about a 90% consistency rate. The only issue that I've had to deal with is a small foot niggle issue, which wasn't too bad actually. But overall, my bike workouts, my swim workouts have all been completed to plan. So I think we can say that training over the last 9 to 10 weeks has been going really, really well. Now, if you watch one of my previous videos on data overload, you would have seen me in that video talking a lot about why data capture is important. And this is one of those very reasons. We want to check really what our bodies are doing and of course where our fitness is currently lying. Right, so when I tested my swim back in November, we did the 400 and 200 meter time trials, which you normally do. My 400 meter time came in at 6:41 and my 200 time came at 3:11. That gave me a CSS of 145 per 100, which at that point of the season I wasn't too disappointed with. Now, in my recent CSS tests, those times have come down. So my 400 went down to 6:24 and my 200 to 3:03. Really, I was quite happy with that because the CSS now is at 141 per 100. So you can see there's some significant improvements over the last 9 to 10 weeks as my fitness has grown. I'm pretty pleased with it. I don't think I've ever swum a 200 meters that fast. I'm so close to dipping under 3 minutes and I'd like to do that this season now that I'm that close. The pleasing thing is it's only February and I'm quite happy as to where I'm at. My CSS of 141 might be fast for some, but slow for others. Who cares? We're going in the right direction. Look, as triathletes, I think we always like to compare ourselves to other athletes. It's just human nature, it's what we do. But I must say it's one thing I've got better at and I don't often do now. At the end of the day, it's all relative to you. So if you often do that, don't get hung up on it. Focus on improving yourself. That's the mindset I think you should take. So let's get to the bike tests, and for me these are the ones that I really was interested in seeing what improvements I'd made. So the 3-minute critical power test was the first one up. Now, back in November when I did this first time out, it was the first time I'd ever done it and I had no idea as to how to approach it. I went into this one a little bit more clued up because obviously I had all my training behind me. I knew some of the numbers that I was hitting. I had my first set of results back in November. So I had a pretty good number in which I thought I could shoot for and try and hold. Right, the good news is that the 3-minute critical power test had an improvement of 32 watts from the last time out. Now, this does show that I am a diesel engine rather than a Lamborghini, and my muscles are primarily slow twitch muscles, and we have got an information education session coming up with Phil around this because after analysing it, there's some things that we've picked up on. And it'd really be good to find out what we can do to improve that even further. And then came the dreaded FTP, and I must say, this is the one I hate the most. Probably because it's the longest of the lot. They're brutal. You're just hanging on for dear life at the end of them. But what I will say is that this FTP is probably the best I've ever nailed one in. And yeah, it came away as being my best ever paced FTP to date. Certainly can say that. Is it my best FTP? Not quite, but it's not far off. And again, we're still early into the season. And I'll tell you what made this much more bearable was actually doing it in the group environment. You know, we had, I don't know, 70 athletes online in our meetup doing this together. And it was really, really good to do that. It pushes you on, particularly if you're riding there with a few others next to you. It's a great environment to do it in. So I did see some really positive results in my FTP, and that has increased by a further 18 watts, over the last 9 to 10 weeks. And that for me was around a 10% increase. So yeah, you can work the numbers out. That puts me at around 3 watts per kilo. And again, at this stage of the season, I'm pleased. You know, for me, the bike is probably the area that I have to do a lot of work on, particularly if I want to get my 70.3 time down. But things seem to be moving in the right direction. One thing I'm certainly realising is probably when I was self-coached, my training sessions were just that little bit too hard. And they were breaking me mentally, and some of them, I'd come away thinking, I failed in that one. Whereas Phil's just toned them down a little bit, and they're much more achievable. There isn't one I've missed. I've got through them. You end up at the end of those workouts feeling like you've achieved something, and I think that's been a really big difference. And I'm hoping that continues, and we hope to see the bike split come down eventually in the season, as well as my FTP go up even further. There you have it, guys. Results all in, and you'll see I'm pleased, and you'll notice that coaching works. Big thanks to Phil for getting me to where I am now, and also to the other TTT athletes, that camaraderie, that online support, and in it together. Really, really good and useful in getting us to where we need to be. Hopefully you've enjoyed this video. Drop me a like if you have, and if you're new around here, do subscribe because it is much appreciated, and I will see you all very soon. Adios.